Livability, a website that explores life in small to medium-sized cities, put out their annual 100 Best Places to Live list last week, and the city of Sugar Land ranked third on this year's list. Woo! Livability took into account several factors, including affordability, job economy, education, transportation, and healthcare. And here to give us his take on the ranking is Sugar Land Mayor Joe Zimmerman. He's been the mayor of Sugar Land since 2016. Mayor Zimmerman, welcome to Hello Houston.
Thank you all very much.
Congratulations.
We're very excited about this.
I'd like to request an audit. I think we should be number one. I think they just miscounted.
So is that your goal for next time?
That's my goal. Is we need to get another audit going, and they need to resurvey people. They just had the wrong segment.
To come in third is pretty impressive because I understand there were 100 different areas they looked at, 100 data points to get you way up here to number 3. What's your answer to all of those that fell below you? Why you guys raised so high?
You know, I think when you look at the city of Sugar Land, we've got so many things to do, quality of life. We've got world champion Space Cowboys, Constellation Field. We've got smart financial, international concert venue. We have comedians coming out there. We've got Cullinan Park for those people that like active, passive kind of parks. We've got Sugar Land softball fields for the girls, Sugar Land baseball fields for the boys. We just have so much for them to do. We've got a burgeoning healthcare business. We just got MD Anderson just announced 470,000 square feet. That's in addition to Houston Sugar Land Methodist, Memorial Hermann, and St. Luke's. So there's just, I think we have a little bit of everything for our population.
And that is all fabulous as a great brochure. I'm going to go back to my question. What do you tell cities that are below you how to get to the point you folks are at? We hear so many stories about so many cities suffering today, and you guys are thriving.
We do every fall. We do a council retreat, and that council retreat informs our city manager and our staff. We look out 5 to 10 years. What do we want to be? And of course, the marketplace changes constantly, but you have to have a vision, and that vision has to incorporate both the thoughts of your residents and your elected officials. And I think we do a good job of doing both those.
And it feels like there's a lot of movement heading your way. And you guys have been on the trend of one of the fastest growing areas for a very long time. How have you managed such a large influx of people? I understand, like you said, you're expanding your healthcare, but really, how do you manage when you have a lot of people moving to your area?
Well, it's really deliberate. So you have to plan for that. You have to plan for that years in advance. We're a zone city. So we have certain areas that are residential, we have commercial, we have industrial, we have all those activities, and then you have employment areas. We've got 96,000 jobs, not just healthcare. We've got Schlumberger, we've got Hope Biosciences with Donna Chang, stem cell research. We've got all these things that are there that provide an infrastructure for the people that want to come to Sugar Land.
And I have to congratulate Sugar Land. Really has done a great job when getting retention ponds going. There's still the dam at the Brazos River that can be a little on edge. I know residents there always sort of hold their breath when there are flood issues, especially when the Brazos starts to go up. But you've done a pretty good job with flooding there.
Yes, sir. You go back in 2019, we had a bond issue after Harvey, and that was to make sure we had 238 residents that got water in their house. Everybody has a right to be in a house that doesn't flood. The council and our residents passed that. That was $47 million for drainage. This $350 million we just did includes additional drainage. So when you look at, that's back to that planning. You have to be deliberate in those things that you're going to address. There's never enough money to go around.
Well, your roads are nice and smooth down there, I'll say that. No, that's a big deal. I mean, I remember Sylvester Turner's first run at mayor was about potholes.
Yes.
That was his whole campaign. That's not a big problem in Sugar Land.
So we do a survey every year, and they drive every street and road in Sugar Land, and it gets a grade,
really,
a performance index. And that performance index informs our capital improvement plan so that we know where to take those dollars and push them into that year. So it's every year that we have that survey, pavement condition survey, then that informs our capital plan.
Do you think that the size of your city impacts what you're able to achieve? And I ask that question because you're right next to Houston, much bigger city. Could they operate similarly to the way you're doing it, or is it because of the size you're able to do what you do?
I think we're able to do what we're able to do because councils before us, and we've got a great council right now, but councils before us had the same focus that we do. I think what you see, and I've talked to Mayor Whitmire about this, you've had years of budget problems at the city of Houston that's caused them to underspend. And that underspending, you take it forward, it's not just the administration before him or the one before that. It's been an underinvestment for a long period of time, and now he's going to play catch up. And there's not enough money to go around with all the things that he has going on with the firefighters and then the budget gap. So if you ever get behind, I think it's very hard to catch up, and that's what we're spending a lot of time to make sure we don't get behind.
So you've been the Mayor Zimmerman, since 2016. How have your challenges changed throughout that time to today? What type of challenges have you been through in Sugar Land?
So when I came in 2016, we had, and I'll call it what it was, we had underinvested in police and fire. Our police in 2019, we did a partial funding of a new police and fire training facility. We just finished that up with our bond election last year. But we made a pivot, and we pivoted to catching up our investment in police and fire. And so we had that training facility. We also had a huge initiative in terms of parks, and we were very good with partnering with people. Fort Bend County doesn't get enough credit. Fort Bend County has been a great partner with us, and they've shared some of those costs. We did a parks referendum in 2013, and they actually picked up some of those costs, which allowed us to redeploy those dollars in other areas.
We're talking this. Let me jump on the end of this question because it fits with what Celeste just asked, is the amount of time you've been in. I'm thinking that's a benefit to a direction for a city, because had you been in a 2-year term, a 4-year term, and somebody else, the consistency of doing it for the number of years you have, I would think allows you to get initiatives moving forward and can help build a city the direction it's gone. Is that a right assumption, would you say?
Absolutely. There were 5 main points when I first got elected, and those 5 main points are the 5 main points we've done for the entire 9 years. Now, we've turned over the entire city council, so the people I served with when I came in 2016 is a different group than what we have now, and we're going to turn it over again. We've got an election, 5 of 7 seats that are up, so we'll have a new council come in. But it's absolutely a benefit to have that consistency and that more or less that evolving vision.
Okay, sorry.
Well, to that point, we have term limits for mayor and city council here in Houston. Are there term limits for you?
Yes, there are. So when I first came in, we were 4 2-year terms were the limits. And then we changed the charter. And the charter now is 3 3-year terms. So I got what I'd call a bonus year. When I originally came in, it was going to be 8 years. I've gotten 9, so it's been great.
Wow.
Nice.
So what is next for Sugar Land? I mean, you mentioned, again, the healthcare. You guys are bustling. You're all moving forward. You're number 3 on the list.
What are you going to
What
do
are you
to
going
get
to do to
number
get
one?
to number 1? What can people expect?
Well, the legislature helped us out a session ago, and it was Senate Bill 2038. And we were landlocked. We only had 4% of our land to be developed. Senate Bill 2038 allowed developers, owners of land, to opt out of a city and to opt into one. So we had a developer, Pulte came to us in 2023, Rye Hill's the development, it's 1,000 acres, and it will eventually come into Sugar Land. What that did for us was it unlocked tens of thousands of acres to the south of us that could at some point in time, if the landowners decide, to come into the city. And that allows us to continue to pursue growth and to continue to add services to what we already have.
We welcome you to join the conversation at 713-440-8870. We are with Mayor of Sugar Land, Joe Zimmerman.
So I often hear that people, especially pro athletes, prefer to live in Fort Bend County because the tax structure is less than Harris County. Is that true?
Yes.
Simple answer.
So tell me what's for sale down there that I can relook at. So by how much? I mean, what's the significance there?
So the county's around, Fort Bend County is around 47, Sugar Land's 35 and some change. Fort Bend ISD, I don't recall what theirs is, but when you get to Harris County, they just had a pretty large tax increase, plus they did something on the flood side to increase taxes. And then you look at the city of Houston, and if you look at those tax structures, they're not the same.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going back to this list. Your number 3, how is Sugar Land going to celebrate?
Well, I think we leave that up to the restaurants, or the residents.
And
The restaurants will celebrate too, I think. But I don't think we get ahead of ourselves. I mean, we've got a strategy. We pursue it. We certainly like the accolades with something like this, but we won't celebrate very long. We'll be back to doing business.
Well, I see number 1 is Flower Mound, Texas. I'm sure that's not lost on you.
That's absolutely is not lost. I mean, that's why I want to recount. And I know some of the mayors up there, so I sit with they call it the Big City Mayors Conference Call, and we do it once a month. We have a conference call, and right now it's Maddie Parker.
I see the bottom of the list is Augusta, Georgia, which is a lovely place. So I mean, all in all, out of 100 cities, we have pretty good places to live in this country.
Yeah, I'm not feeling too bad if we're behind Augusta, Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Masters and everything out there.
Now, Mayor Zimmerman, I do have to ask you, last year there was some controversy around limiting public speaking during city council. Now that that was about almost a year ago, what do you want residents to understand during that time that you think was maybe misunderstood?
So we've always had on the agenda that you could only speak on an active item. And for a while when we had the people that wanted to speak come to council, we relaxed that policy. And then what we saw was the original thought was, let's give them a chance to speak, and then possibly that would go away. Well, that didn't happen. So we went back merely to enforcing the policy that we'd always had from the time going back administrations long before I came in as mayor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. With the current, atmosphere that we're seeing out there when it comes to politics and such, how in Sugar Land are you handling partisan issues, nonpartisan issues, coming together as a community instead of seeing differences? What do you do in your role as mayor to try and build a more cohesive community? And I ask that question for others to be able to take lessons from it too.
Right. So Sugar Land's nonpartisan. We don't have R's and D's, and we work with all the elected officials. We've got R's and D's out in the county. We work with both sides. We've got R's and D's in the state legislature that represent us. We work with that. We've got R's and D's at the federal, and we work with both those. And so we don't get caught up in the politics.
In the politics of politics.
And we stay focused on what we're trying to accomplish. Yeah. Can we get federal dollars for our airport runway? Can we get state funding for a gondola, some kind of transportation? We can't continue to pave the world, so we're very focused on the fact that we've got to find a way in mobility and transportation to move people.
Let's get back to gondola. Is this a scoop we're getting here on Hello Houston? Have I not heard about this gondola?
So we've had a preliminary engineering study that's going on to see if, back to my point, you can't continue to widen Highway 6 and widen roads and pave concrete. Is there another way, Frank, to move people? And so we're doing a preliminary engineering report to see if, in fact, gondolas can move people from, let's say, from Sugar Land Town Center to Smart Financial or Constellation Field.
That's awesome. By the way, my 15th annual Frank Billingsley Golf Classic this year is going to be at Sweetwater Country Club.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for bringing it out there.
No, thank you for the hospitality to allowing us to come your way. We're excited.
Joe Zimmerman is the mayor of Sugar Land. Mayor Zimmerman, thank you so much for joining Frank, Ernie, and I.
Thank y'all very much.
Congratulations again.
Number 3.